Look, I get it. Most of us have been peeling apples our entire lives. Maybe your parents did it. Maybe you think the texture's weird. Or maybe you're worried about pesticides. But what if I told you that by tossing that peel, you're literally throwing away the most powerful part of the apple? And I'm not just being dramatic here. The research on this is actually mind-blowing. So today, I want to share 4 science-backed reasons why eating apple peels might be one of the simplest upgrades you can make to your diet. And trust me, by the end of this, you're probably going to think twice before reaching for that peeler. Reason number 1, you're losing up to 6 times more antioxidants than you think. Here's something that really shocked me when I first learned it. Apple peels contain up to 6 times more polyphenols than the flesh. 6 times. That's not a small difference. We're talking about a massive concentration of these plant compounds that act as antioxidants in your body. And get this, the antioxidant activity of just 100 grams of apple peel is equivalent to 1,500 milligrams of vitamin C, even though the peel itself only contains about 6 milligrams of vitamin C. So how is that possible? It's because of these incredibly potent polyphenols, like quercetin, catechine, epicatechin, and chlorogenic acid. They're concentrated in the peel at levels you just can't get from the flesh alone. Researchers at Cornell University actually studied 4 common apple varieties and found that the peels had the highest levels of phenolic compounds and flavonoids across the board. One variety, Ida Red apple peels, showed antioxidant activity of over 300 micromoles of vitamin C equivalents per gram. That's phenomenal antioxidant power, packed into something most people are literally throwing in the trash. But why do antioxidants matter? Because every single day, your cells are under attack from free radicals. These are unstable molecules that damage your cells, your DNA, your blood vessels, contributing to everything from heart disease to cancer to premature aging. Antioxidants are basically your cellular defense team. And when you peel your apple, you're sending most of that defense team straight to the garbage disposal. Reason number 2, the peel is where almost all the fiber lives. So here's a stat that really puts this into perspective. A medium unpeeled apple contains about 5.4 grams of fiber. But peel that same apple, and you're down to just 2.8 grams. You've lost nearly half the fiber. Actually, research shows that about 2/3 of an apple's total fiber content is in the peel. Now, why does this matter? Because fiber is one of those nutrients most of us aren't getting enough of, and it's absolutely crucial for your health. The fiber in apple peels comes in 2 forms, soluble and insoluble. The soluble fiber, mainly pectin, gets fermented by beneficial bacteria in your colon. This fermentation process produces short-chain fatty acids that help maintain healthy cholesterol levels, support your immune system, and even influence your mood and brain function through the gut-brain connection. The insoluble fiber, on the other hand, acts like a broom for your digestive system. It adds bulk to your stool, speeds up transit time, helps prevent constipation, and keeps everything moving smoothly. But here's something really interesting. That viscous fiber in the peel also slows down gastric emptying. What that means in plain English is it keeps you feeling full longer. Studies have shown that the higher a fiber's viscosity, the more it affects your satiety. So if you're someone trying to manage your weight, eating the peel could actually help you feel satisfied with less food throughout the day. Reason number 3, the peel has powerful cardiovascular benefits. This is where the research gets really compelling. Multiple studies have looked at what apple peels do to your heart and blood vessels, and the results are pretty remarkable. First, let's talk about your arteries. There's this thing called endothelial function, which is basically how well the lining of your blood vessels can dilate and contract. When this function is impaired, you're at much higher risk for heart disease and stroke. Well, studies have found that eating unpeeled apples significantly improves this endothelial function compared to peeled apples. Within just a few hours of eating an apple with its peel, researchers measured improved artery function. The flavonoids in the peel, especially quercetin, are thought to be responsible for this. But it goes beyond that. Research has shown that apple peel polyphenols can help prevent LDL cholesterol from becoming oxidized. That's huge, because oxidized LDL is what actually causes plaque buildup in your arteries. Regular LDL is not necessarily the villain on its own. It's when free radicals damage it, and it becomes oxidized, that it turns into something truly harmful. The antioxidants in apple peels act as a protective shield, increasing the time it takes for LDL to become oxidized. And there's more. A Finnish study involving over 5,000 people found that higher quercetin intake, remember, that's the compound concentrated in apple, peels, was associated with reduced risk of coronary mortality. The same study found that apple and pear consumption was linked to lower risk of type 2 diabetes. These aren't small, insignificant findings. We're talking about real protection against some of the leading causes of death worldwide. Studies also show that the compounds in apple peels help reduce blood pressure. The mechanism involves improving blood flow, reducing inflammation in blood vessels, and supporting healthy arterial flexibility. One human study specifically found that consumption of apple peel extract improved flow-mediated dilation, which means the blood vessels became more responsive and flexible. Reason number 4, anti-cancer compounds you can't get anywhere else. Okay, this one is really fascinating. Researchers at Cornell University identified about a dozen compounds in apple peels called triterpenoids. Now, these aren't found in significant amounts in the flesh. They're specifically concentrated in the peel. And here's why they matter. Laboratory studies have shown that these triterpenoids can inhibit or even kill cancer cells. Specifically, research has demonstrated anti-proliferative effects against liver cancer, colon cancer, and breast cancer cells. One study found that Rome Beauty apple peels were so potent, they inhibited liver cancer cell proliferation by 50% at a concentration of just 12.4 milligrams per milliliter. That's an incredibly low concentration for such a powerful effect. Now, I want to be really clear here. This is laboratory research. We're not saying eating apple peels cures cancer, but what the research does suggest is that regular consumption of these compounds may help prevent cancer cells from developing in the first place. And when you consider that apples are one of the most commonly consumed fruits worldwide, and most people are throwing away the part with the highest concentration of these protective compounds, it's kind of tragic. There's also promising research on ursolic acid, another compound found specifically in apple peels. Studies have shown it has anti-obesity properties, may help increase muscle mass while burning fat, and has demonstrated anti-cancer properties, particularly against prostate cancer cells. Again, you're not getting meaningful amounts of this from the flesh. It's concentrated in that waxy coating on the peel. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. What about pesticides? It's a legitimate concern. But here's the thing, studies have actually compared pesticide residue levels in peeled versus unpeeled apples. And while peeled apples had fewer residues, the exposure levels in both cases were far below acceptable daily intake limits. We're talking about 0.04 to 2% of the acceptable daily intake, even at the 95th percentile of consumption. The solution isn't to peel your apples. The solution is to wash them properly. The USDA recommends washing all produce, including organic, under running water. For apples, you can scrub them with a clean produce brush. Some people use a baking soda solution, soaking apples for about 40 minutes in water with baking soda, which research shows effectively removes pesticides. You can also use a vinegar solution. The key is, don't let fear of pesticides rob you of all those incredible nutrients. Here's the bottom line. When you compare an unpeeled apple to a peeled apple, you're looking at nearly twice the fiber, 40% more vitamin A, 25% more potassium, plus all those concentrated polyphenols, flavonoids, quercetin, triterpenoids, ursolic acid. It's not even close. The peeled apple is nutritionally inferior in almost every measurable way. And look, I'm not saying the flesh of the apple isn't nutritious. It absolutely is. Apples are still great even without the peel. But if your goal is to maximize the health benefits, if you want the cardiovascular protection, the cancer-fighting compounds, the fiber that feeds your gut bacteria and keeps you satisfied, the antioxidants that protect your cells from damage, then eating the peel is non-negotiable. The texture might take some getting used to if you've always peeled your apples. But think about it this way. That slight chewiness, that little bit of toughness you might not be used to, that's literally where all the good stuff is concentrated. Your body knows what it's doing when it rewards you for eating the whole food, not just the sweetest, softest part. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.